Hey guys, it is March the 11th. Welcome to Tomatoes, Poppies, and Everything Gardening. It is so hot outside. We are going to get busy. We're going to plant our spring crop of brassicas, cauliflower, broccoli, and I think I actually even picked up a pack of romanesco. So let's get outside. Let me show you what's been going on, and let's get these guys in the ground because it's going to be 80 degrees before we know it. I have very limited time to get these guys growing. So let's get started. Normally, I like to start all of my brassicas from seed, but life got really busy January and February of this year. So now that I have seen that my broccoli is starting to bolt and get that beautiful flower pattern starting on the heads, I'm going to harvest all of these. We're going to eat them. And with the leaves that are still on the plant, they're gorgeous. Very little bug damage. I'm actually going to harvest them, clean them, dry them, and then put them into my oven on the lowest temperature setting until they're nice and crispy but not burnt, because then if they get burnt they're going to have a little bitter taste. And then I'm going to pulsate them and make it into a fine powder and then store that in the freezer for smoothies, for soups, maybe even broccoli soup. So you can see that is what I am doing here, just kind of filling up my bowl with some broccoli. And if you didn't want to plant something right away, you could let the broccoli grow side shoots, but I've decided I'm going to go ahead and plant my new plants. Before we plant our new brassicas, I need to come and harvest all of these gorgeous leaves. These will be so great dehydrated into a powder, or I could just freeze the leaves after I clean them whole and put them into like stew, soup, that type of thing. Very nutritious, organically grown. I'm not going to waste those leaves. I could even put them in my collards next time I make them. But we do need to clean this up so we can plant our new brassicas. And by the way, the broccoli was wonderful. It was so good. I'm sharing with the deer. They're getting the scraps and I'm saving the leaves. I'm also doing a little bit of cleanup as we go. I'm taking the leaves, the ones that are nice and crunchy, breaking them up to create more soil and a tiny bit of mulching action. And I'm checking for weeds, but I'm also checking for larkspur. And if you'll remember back in the fall, I had a really big issue with the larkspur and I almost poisoned my family. So be sure to check out that video if you're interested. But I'm going to keep working, get all these leaves, and then we'll plant the new stuff. And this is why it's the right time to start cleaning up our leaves, because the slugs are starting to come out and want to eat. And I just pulled him up with my bare hand just a second ago, and I threw him and I screamed, but then I found him. Alright, so this half is done. You can see I have carrots left, some overwintering onions left, and a couple, well, probably about 3 or 4 peas that survived. The ones on this half did not. I'll have to reseed. And I think these are celosia. I don't think it's larkspur, but I will keep my eye on it. I have celosia everywhere coming up and it looks like this. Alright, so now I can put 3 plants right in through here. And we're just going to keep moving and get all of this done. You can see there's quite a bit of whitefly activity here. This will all wash off. I will definitely be cleaning these well before we eat them. And I see this quite often on my organically grown brassicas. Alright, so I got this side clean. Now it is time to plant some new broccoli. I have 6 plants here. I pinched off the lower leaves and I'm going to bury it slightly deep, not too deep, just a little, maybe an inch deep, right there. I will come back here soon and top dress with some slow release fertilizer. Okay, so I have this half of the bed done and there's 6 planted. You'll notice I like to use these mesh trash waste baskets that I get at the Dollar Tree. And those just help keep the plants safe from the squirrels until they get big enough that if they're dug up, it won't do too much damage. And this variety is called Lieutenant. I'll be leaving 4 broccoli plants on the right side, and these guys overwintered well. And I did start these from seed late last summer, and so they will be fine. And this is Tonto, and you can see my peas here on the trellis, and he will be after my peas. So I put these little flimsy, also from the Dollar Tree, trellises up, but that may not be enough to keep him from pulling my pea plants out. You can see I'm already getting blossoms, and these peas also overwintered, and I need to reseed so I can get more, since only about 50% of the peas survive the winter. You can see I'm just cleaning up the right side of the bed now and getting ready to put those plants in. The Bell Star, I had 3 Bell Stars I started from seed, and then I had 3 gypsies, but only one of the gypsy plants survived the winter. So we're going to divide up this container of romanesco. There's 3 plants, and I'm going to put those into this last section of this trellis raised bed area. Okay, so both of those beds are done. Now they're about 2 by 8 feet. And now I'm thinking about where will we put the 6 cauliflower. And you can see Tonto's kind of taking a little rest there. And so I did have a couple brassicas still left in these containers, but I've got an empty spot there. And I put a cauliflower in there, put a cauliflower here. Thinking about putting a cauliflower in this smaller container. And then so yeah, I've got 4 left. And then I really didn't want to use this same whiskey barrel planter because I know there's some cabbage looper worms in there. But I started looking around, and there's really no empty spots because this barrel has kohlrabi babies. You can see coming up, and I love kohlrabi. And this one over here has collared babies. And so that leaves the one with the cauliflowers we're going to pull out. So we'll just take our chances. So we're going to pull these cauliflower plants out. I'm going to throw them straight into the woods for the deer to eat. You can see right here, this one had really bad frost damage. The stem was all just mushy and gross. And yep, you're going to see I actually find a bunch of snapdragon babies, and I'm going to try to save them. These are probably like an orangish color because I had some growing right next to this container last year. They were kind of like a pretty orange pink. And I had a couple in this tray I was trying to show you. And then I'm just going to add as many as I can save from this planter and put into that little container. Hopefully they will do fine and I can plant them somewhere out in the garden. I'm going to walk around and make sure I didn't miss out on any broccoli plants. I will say I left 2 that will bolt and then flower for the pollinators because they love the flowers in early spring. But I'm going to get these leaves in the house and get started.